Many years ago, there was a really fantastic movie that came out. It starts with an I. What movie am I referring to?
Inception.
Inception. How many of you have not seen the movie Inception? The door is that way. In the movie Inception, there's a strong presentation of how powerful one's imagination can be, how powerful visualization can be. That the whole movie takes place in a small sequence of time, physical, actual time. But as you go deeper into what they're creating, time is moving at very different paces. You have a different where, you have a different when. You have the snow fortress, you have the hotel, you have the city, you have an airplane. If we take this to our own experiences, how many of you dreamt last night? Think about your dream, where you were, who you were with, what you were doing, and on and on and on. Just think about the last time you had such a dream. All of that is your own creation. You created the dream universe. You populated that dream universe with articles, beings, circumstances, and you experienced it. All a product of the mind. So whether it's a movie or a dream, we now take this to right now. All of the calmness and chaos in your life is because of you. You give permission to yourself to be calm. You give permission to yourself to be chaotic. It is not related to that movie or dream. It is related to you. Swami Tejamayana was sharing with us. If someone calls you a donkey, that's a really Indian insult, isn't it? Hey, donkey. If someone calls you a jerk, and you're acting like one, then say Hariyam and stop acting like one. Like, it's a good thing they pointed out that you're acting like a jerk. But if you're not acting like a donkey or a jerk, then why take it personally? Isn't it? You see, in one case, you give permission for those words to go into your personality. In another case, you don't give permission for those words to go into your personality. You. So many of you studied with me. Lift yourself by yourself. And the opposite holds true too. If you're responsible for lifting yourself, you're also responsible for dropping yourself. No one else can drop you either. I'll take this to a more shastric framework from our scriptures. Animals, it goes lower. Plants, animals, and gods. These are lowercase g, gods. Like the demigods, Vayu, Indra, etc. They're all called Bhoga Yonis. Yoni means embodiment. Bhoga means they only exhaust. Plants go through experiences and become animals. Animals go through their experiences and they become humans. Demigods go through their experiences and they become humans also. Humans are called yoga yonis. We are embodiments that don't just exhaust, don't just evolve. We can exhaust and evolve, or we can incur more and devolve. So as a human, I can become enlightened, or as a human, I can go back to being an animal. And some people are like that. They look like humans, but they act like animals. Some people look like animals, but they act like humans. So here too, our scriptures are saying, climb. Only you can climb. Plants and animals, they're like veins. They're only taking blood in one way. But you can go either way. Be careful to ensure that you're climbing, that you're evolving. Now, related to climbing, last year when I was teaching chapter 14, do you remember what framework I used to communicate what each verse represents, what the meaning is? How did I teach each verse? Absolute, relative, tactile. Did I do that in San Jose also? Okay. Each message that is shared in our scriptures, I try to look at it from three perspectives. From an absolute perspective, the message is enlightenment or bust. There's no other message but enlightenment. But for many of us, that's too philosophical. So we look at it at a relative way. How do I use this message in the world, with my relationships, with my planet, with my health? And then we come down, for some that's also too much. So we come down to a tactile level. What do I start doing right here, right now? And in regards to climbing, if you hold on to the tactile point, you'll be able to hold on to the relative. Hold on to the absolute. Last year I gave you 8 tactile points. Yesterday I gave you a review of the 8 absolute and relative points. I'm going to give you those 8 tactile points now. Okay? The first tactile point, this came from shloka 10, was to stop branding. I think I literally told you to stop buying brand name stuff. I think it started with that. And then to internalize that, to stop labeling, that person's athletic and that person's a nerd and this person, they're very sincere and that person's insincere. Stop branding. Okay, and really, maybe you can practice that by not buying brand name clothes. In shloka 11, the tactile point was R3. I call it vitamin R3. What is vitamin R3? Read, write, and reflect. There's another vitamin R3, which is run, read, research. Okay, so read, write, and reflect is one vitamin. And then the generic brand vitamin R3 is run, read, research. In other words, your equipments, body, mind, intellect, use them. Invest in them. Third tactile point. This was from shloka 12. The tactile point was single servings. Whenever you take food, you can only have a single serving. So whatever you put on your plate once, that's it. You don't get up to go eat again. So today at lunch, people's plates are going to be like this. But consider it. Consider this single serving. And I think this relates to rajas. The rajasic person is always looking out, what did that person eat? Or I'm missing out on this. Appreciate what you have. In shloka 13, the tactile point was to learn from every experience. Because a tamasic person, they don't think, they don't act, they don't care. But if you're learning from every experience, that means you care about every experience. Sitting in contemplation today on the ground, what did you learn just from sitting on the ground outside today? Did you learn anything? Yeah, it's a serene place. What I learned is not to sit on an incline. Because I was sort of sitting on an incline and there's just so much pressure on your back if you're sitting on an incline. So tomorrow I'm going to find a better spot to make you sit on the incline. See how I'm not tamasic? So learn from every experience. The tactile point from shloka 14. And now I see 3 people in this room who have come on yatras, 4 people who have come on yatras with me. On our yatras, I always tell you about 3 C's you're not allowed to engage in. What is the first C you're not allowed to engage in? No? Complaining. If you complain, you tend to do this. What is the second no? No? Criticizing. If you criticize, you tend to do this. No? Crying unnecessarily. Okay? Extreme pain or joy, fine. But no complaining, no criticizing, no crying. Take responsibility for yourself. In shloka 15, the tactile point is, who is the most difficult person in your life to talk to? When you need to have a serious or difficult conversation, who's the most challenging person to talk to? Anyone? Parents?
People close to you.
People close to you?
Myself.
Yourself, okay. I tend to think it's our parents or family. Yes, is that fair to say? And often, when we speak to our parents, we just get impatient, frustrated. We leave that conversation and all we're thinking about is, why did I say that? Why did I say that in that way? We can all relate to that. And it just pulls you down more. So the tactile point was to be rested for conflict. If you're going to have a serious conversation with someone, make sure you're rested. That your mind is rested, that you have nothing to do shortly thereafter. Otherwise, you're not going to be there for that conversation. Days that I have to speak to more people, I sleep more on those days. Because I know I have to listen more, I have to speak more. If I'm just by myself, I don't need to sleep as much because I don't need to listen or speak to myself as much. So to be rested for conflict. For those who run half marathons, you need to sleep a lot and eat a lot of sugar. You have to be rested for that race. The 16th shloka, the tactile point. What is that saying? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? The 16th shloka teaches us to choose our friends wisely. Choose our friends wisely. If you're in a rooming situation with people who stay up late, what time do you sleep? The same time they do or after, because you're frustrated that they kept you up and now you're awake being frustrated. If you're staying in a home with young kids, infants, what time do you sleep? Really early. You know, like I go to some homes and the kids sleep at 8 o'clock. You know, what a dream to be able to sleep at 8 p.m. So choose your friends wisely, choose your roommates wisely. So if you want to sleep early, choose your kids as your roommates. Because my point is that we are influenced by our friends. That's why it's truly CHYK to be in CHYK. 17, this was the last tactile point I gave to all of you. How many pancakes equals 1 bowl of oatmeal? Oh, why did I even say that? How many pancakes equal a bowl of oatmeal? Probably 2 or 3, right? A bowl of oatmeal is much more healthy for you than a pancake. Correct? Because that oatmeal is of a higher quality than the pancake. So the tactile point is to live for quality. When it comes to food, eat higher quality food. When it comes to shoes, you've all cheaped out on a pair of shoes. How long did they last you? But if you have a good pair of shoes, they can last you for so long. The shoes that I have right now, I bought a similar pair at Columbia in Portland last year. And I only have 1 pair of shoes, and they lasted me a whole year. So this year when I went, I bought 2 more pairs. Because they're such high quality, why do I have to look around for other shoes? These are of a high quality. If you can do it outside, you start to do it with people. You start to push away FOMO. What's FOMO? Fear of missing out. You start to embrace JOMO, the joy of missing out. That's only if you have high quality. If you have low quality, it's always going to be JOMO. And if you can, again, train yourself to do it with people, you start to do it with your thoughts. Those thoughts that are telling you to climb, you give focus to that. Those thoughts that are telling you not to climb, you dismiss them. The choice is up to you to hold on to these rungs or not. And it's only if you remember these rungs that you will hold on to them. If you don't remember, you can't practice, right? Suppose you're having lunch with someone and you can't remember their name. How do you communicate with them? Hey, it. Or, you know, you'll talk to them in a very third person kind of way. Or you just won't talk to them, isn't it? But if you remember their name, you can talk to them. It's that simple. So I'm asking you. Yesterday I asked you, what do you want? Today I'm sharing this. Pay attention to what's being shared. This is an instruction manual on how to be deeper. In other words, how to be happy. We now continue. We're on shloka 18. I will chant each quarter. You please repeat. If you have a book, good. If you don't, you can share with someone. Divine Krishna comes back again and again and again. As you think, so you become. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha.
Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha.
Madhye tishtanti rajasaha.
Madhye tishtanti rajasaha.
Jaganya guna vrittistaha.
Jaganya guna vrittistaha.
Adho gachanti tamasaha.
Adho gachanti tamasaha.
Together, nice and loud.
Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. Jaganya guna vrittistaha. Adho gachanti tamasaha.
Here's what each quarter means. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha. For the person who's established in sattva. Sattva is calmness. That person, gachanti, they go. Where do they go? Urdhva. They go up. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. For the person who's rajasic, the person who's aggressive, then they stay where they are. Madhye means they remain as is. And then jaganya guna vrittistaha. For that lowest type of thinking. What is the lowest type of thinking? Tamas. Tamasaha gachanti. The person who thinks in a lazy way, adaha. That person goes down. So this can be like a new Bhagavad game. If I say Rajas, where should you go? Nowhere. Tamas, you sit down, you lie down. Sattva, you close your eyes and you fold your hands. Sattva, do it. Rajas, Tamas. Okay, what does this mean at an absolute level? Whenever we hear this word goes up or highest, that's always in reference to us being oriented with our eyes. Our eyes go up. Our eyes think about space. But if you internalize this, what does the highest actually mean? What does it look like? Not the highest, but the deepest. Deepest, okay? Highest is with your eyes, deepest is with vision. If the same entity is the farthest away from you and the closest to you, how do you describe that entity? That entity is infinite. So here, Bhagavan Krishna is saying, if you live a life of calmness, of sattva, you will begin to have the vision of infinity. That's what he means that you go to the highest. You will realize Brahman. Brahman is the farthest, Atman is the closest. This is what you will realize. And Swami Chinmaya, the drive. Any direction you go in, north, south, east, west, you take in the middle directions also, northeast, southwest, etc. To know those directions, there has to be awareness. Without awareness, there can be no knowledge of any direction. There can be no knowledge, period, without awareness. Let me show that to you. Okay. This is a bookmark. Every thought, whether I say it or not, is, I know bookmark. I know pen, I know camera, I know wall, I know Vivek. That I indicates existence or self. If I take I away, can there be any knowing? I have to be there, correct? Knowing indicates awareness or chit. If there's no awareness or no knowing, then that experience is incomplete also. So did you know that every experience you have is based on that I know? The bookmark changes, the pen changes, the time changes. But the I know never changes. If I is there, know is there. That's with a K. If know is there, I have to be there. So Bhagavan is saying, those people who are practicing calmness, they just become more and more and more aware. Which person are you most aware of? In your life, which person are you most aware of?
Myself.
Yourself, right? I think we did this in San Jose. Please take your index finger and slowly bring it to your eye. Okay? Go fast. Okay? No one's blinking. No one's flinching. Now I want you to slowly bring it to the eye of the person sitting next to you. Go really slow. See, that's where so much anxiety. When is that finger coming? Because you're not aware of the other person. Or, you know, if that finger is coming at me, I'm not aware of what they're going to be doing with that finger, where that finger has been. So you see, with other people, you can sympathize with them, but you cannot empathize with them. We use that word empathy very loosely. But empathy means, you know, you're aware of that person more and more and more. Did I ever tell you about my younger sister and I, how we used to go on road trips? Fingers and eyes? No? Okay. So my parents, they used to take us on a lot of road trips. They were very cruel in that way. But it was good family time because it's not like we had cell phones. It's not like we could jump out of the car. Like, we just had to get to know our parents. We'd have serious conversations. So I'd be on one side, my younger sister in the middle, and my older sister on another side in the back seat. And so whenever my younger sister would try to sleep, I would take my finger and bring it really close to her eye. Okay? I would not touch her eye, but I'd bring it really close. And so if there's a bump, my finger would touch her eye. And so she'd wake up and get, you know, really mad. And I was saying, it's not my problem. My finger was there. Your eye touched my finger. It's not my finger touched your eye. And then so after that, when she would try to sleep, she couldn't. She'd just keep thinking my finger was there. So she'd sleep, she'd open her eyes, sleep, open. That's the end of my story. So here, the person who is sattvic becomes more aware. They become more empathetic. See how beautiful these shlokas are. For the person who's rajasic, the person who's aggressive, they're only aware about themselves. They're sympathetic. And the person who's lazy, they don't think about anyone else, they don't think about themselves, they are apathetic. So where is our evolution? To become empathetic. I want to bring one more point up about awareness. Are people in Canada blessed with more awareness than people in America? Are people in California blessed with more awareness than people in Texas? Are humans blessed with more awareness than animals? Animals blessed with more awareness than plants? Yes? No? So Canada, America, yes? See the illogical calculation about awareness being different amongst Canadians, Americans, Californians, Texans, animals, plants. Are you telling me that infinity is present more in 100,000 than in the number 1? Infinity is equal, isn't it? Infinity is all-pervasive. Infinity is as present, awareness is as present in a plant, as in an animal, as in a human. However, the medium to reflect that awareness is not. As an example, okay? This light is shining equally on my palm and this water. True or false? Shining equally. There's no preference for this water over my palm. But my palm is not made up of materials to shine back. And the water does have the properties to reflect that light. So in our case, the person who is tamasic, they have the same awareness as someone who's sattvic, but they can't reflect it. So never think that infinity or Bhavan is partial. We are partial. Bhavan is not partial. The person who's sattvic can reflect those divine qualities more. I will bring this to a relative level. Okay? That which is most infinite is most independent. That which is most infinite is most independent. Try to understand this mathematically. Does the number 10 depend on infinity, or does infinity depend on number 10? 10 depends on infinity. I thought you knew that, but maybe not. If you take away infinity, 10 goes away also. If you take away 10, infinity also goes away. But you know what I'm saying. That which is finite depends on that which is infinite. So that which is most infinite also means that which is most independent. So what is Bhagavan Krishna, what is our Creator trying to teach us? Be more independent. The person who's calm is more independent. The person who's lazy is most dependent. That's why, what's the worst day of the week for someone who's tamasic or dependent? Monday. Every day, but specifically Monday. Correct? For someone who's rajasic, what is the best day of the week? Friday. It's the farthest point till you have to go back to Monday. For someone who's sattvic or calm?
Every day.
Every day is beautiful. Lots to work on, correct? So at a relative level, to be independent. And I know you already know this. When you are calm, I want you to think. When you are most calm, what do you do in that moment? When you are most calm? Maybe this morning, what do you do? What do you do when you're most calm? Nothing bothers you? Good? Reflect? Observe? Focus.
And reflect on how peaceful.
Yeah. You do nothing. When you are calm, you have no needs. You don't need to speak to anyone. In fact, many times we just close our eyes, correct? We don't even need to use our eyes. When you are sattvic, your needs will come down. And when you have little or no needs, you become calm. So they go both ways. The sattvic person has little needs. The person who has little needs is sattvic. Pujya Swami Chinmayananda's guru. What is his name? Swami Tapovanan. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him, but most of the time he just wore a muumuu. Do you know what a muumuu is? A muumuu is just one long piece of cloth, like cut in the top, like a dress. See, I wear a dhoti and kurta. And I have an undershirt on and a sweater. He just wore a muumuu. Like a onesie. Do you know what a onesie is? It's like a onesie. So he was going to Kailash. And he didn't go to Kailash in a helicopter or a bus or a donkey. He walked. He didn't have Nike haywire shoes or, Mac special backpacks and so on. Do you have Mac in America? It's like REI, but it's in Canada. It's just more solid. So one day when he was walking to Kailash, Kailash is in the northern part of Bharat, of India. It's on the border with China. He was just stopped, and some thieves from a distance, they saw him. So they were planning to go and steal from him, and so they came to him. And when they saw how little he had, they gave him stuff. They were going to steal from him, but he had nothing. So imagine thieves giving you stuff. We would feel so bad, the thieves are pitying. But he was just that strong that they gave him a blanket and clothes and so on. He's sattva to the best. Here's our tactile point. Before we get there. Absolute. It's at an absolute level. As you think, so you become. If you think in a sattvic way, what happens is you become more aware. At a relative level, if you think in a sattvic way, you become more independent. Here's how we can start to practice this, tactile. Own what you use. Own what you use. Now, if my wife was here, she would bring this up as an example of how poor my English is. Because she would say, you should use what you own. But I keep telling her, in philosophy, you can make up any words you want. Like funner. I'm distinctly saying own what you use. In other words, if you're not using it, don't own it. That goes on two levels. Presently what you have, if you're not using it, give it to someone who will use it. And as you consider bringing things into your life, if you're not going to use it, don't buy it. Own what you use. The way that Patanjali Rishi would share this is aparigraha, which means you should only own what you use. An acronym that will make this even more clear is to be a cop. Be a cop stands for clean, organize, plan. Now I want you to think of your closet. I know, scary. I want you to think of your car. Clean, organize, plan. Clean is clean up. Make sure there's not food everywhere. Make sure there's not scraps of paper in different places. Clean is addressing the past. Organize addresses the present. As you think of your closet, label things. Section things off in your inbox. Now with Google, you can have so many filters. You can have so many folders. That addresses the present. And plan addresses the future. You should be so planning oriented that you never have to clean again. You never have to organize again. And I'll give you a small example of that. I own 2 sweaters, 2 long sleeve like dress type shirts, 2 t-shirts, and 2 pairs of pants. And before anything else comes into my closet, something has to come out. That's the plan part I'm talking about. That there's already a plan, that I never have to organize or clean my closet again because there's just that level of planning involved in that. You do that, what will happen? You will start to become more independent. You start to become more independent, you start to become more aware. Chinmaya Mission, that's an environment of youth who are trying to become more aware. Everyone's with me? Are you going to do this when you go home? No. But it's nice to hear these tactile points anyways. 19. Bhagavan continues. He starts to bring up, if you go through tamas to become rajasic, rajasic to become sattvic, what's after being sattvic? He brings this up. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram.
Nanyam gunebhya kartaram.
Yada drishtanu pashyati.
Yada drishtanu pashyati.
Gunebhyascha param veti.
Gunebhyascha param veti.
Madbhavam sodhi gacchati.
Madbhavam sodhi gacchati.
Together and loud.
Nanyam gunebhya kartaram. Yada drashtanu pashyati. Gunebhyascha param veti. Madbhavam sodhi gacchati.
So what's past sattva? Lord Krishna says, Na anya. There is nothing but gunebhyaha. There is nothing but gunas. This is the kartara. The gunas are the ones who are doing. So no one is doing other than the gunas. What are the gunas? What is another word for guna in English? Yada drashta. For that person who can see, and anupashyati, doesn't see with their eyes, but they see with understanding. What about them? Gunebhya cha param veti. They start to see what is higher than the gunas, or they come to see what is deeper than the gunas. So for the person who has the vision that all that's happening is gunas hanging out with gunas, gunas interacting with gunas, they start to realize there's more than just the gunas. They see past it, they see through it. Madbhava. To me, sodhi gacchati, saha gacchati, that person comes to me. Who's me here? Bhagavan Krishna. Who's me here? Joy. That person becomes independent. That person becomes aware. We'll take this at an absolute level. How many of you have studied the text Drig Drishya Viveka? Who is the author?
Shankaracharya.
Acharya Shankara is presumed to be the author. In that text, he defines Maya. What does he say Maya is? See, that's the problem if you say you studied a text, because then I'm going to ask you. What is Maya in this text? Okay. Good. He also says at a simpler level, Nama and Rupa. Maya is names and forms. Such as, what is this? What is this? What's the name of this? Ziploc or bag. What is the form of this? Some say plastic, some say square. You know, this is my recorder case. You call it a Ziploc bag, I call it recorder case. You know, to another person, this is a wallet. Like, whoa, nice wallet. See, it's just names and forms. And another way to understand names and forms is guna. Okay, so name and form is the same as guna. So Bhagavan is saying, at an absolute level, all that's happening around us is just Maya. A game of names and forms. And I think I talked about this extensively in San Jose. Bhagavan Krishna created the first Maya. Who created the second Maya? Mark Zuckerberg created Maya number 2. He created the Facebook. That's what it said, right? The YouTube, the Facebook. You have to give emphasis to that, the. When you're checking your news feed on Facebook, now out of curiosity, how many of you do not have a Facebook account? Okay, I'd like to know why afterwards. Because they kicked you off, Facebook kicked you off. When you're looking down that news feed, and you see some of those pictures of people, first you take the nama, you take the rupa, you take their form. Does everyone always look that good? Does anyone put an ugly picture up on Facebook? Like, I just woke up, snap. This is me brushing my teeth, there's foam all over the place. Right, they put the best pictures up. Who actually looks like that? Right now, we definitely don't look like that. So that's like the rupa. You take the nama. When people are posting on Facebook, it's not like, went to McDonald's, or I'm in the bathroom. Right? I'm flying from year to year, or look at this sunset, or look, Memorial Day weekend. See how much nama? Nobody does that all the time. Facebook is just another game of forms and names. This is another game of forms and names. Facebook depends on the internet. The internet does not depend on, it sort of does, but it doesn't also. if there are forms and names, if there's nama and rupa, if there's guna, there has to be that which supports these forms, these names. As an example, please think about a cast curtain brick tar. Please think about that. What are you thinking about? Because I just made up a series of words and put them together. See, that's just floating in the air. There's nothing that it's supported by, so you don't think about it, isn't it? I'll take this to a more emotional level. When you see someone, you can't just go up to them and say, "You're ignorant." Right? For someone who says that, the person who's saying that is ignorant. See, ignorant is always needing a locus. I can be ignorant about how to speak Russian. I can be ignorant about how to make dosa. You can't just be ignorant. It's not just floating in the world. There's ignorance. A little bit of ignorance over there. There has to be ignorance of. There has to be names and forms of. That's what Bhagavan Krishna is trying to teach at an absolute level. Is these gunas. This Maya depends on Sat, which is existence. And the person who knows that, that person is free of these forms and names, is free of this game of gunas. Tomorrow night we're going to have open mic. And some of you may act in the evening. And so you may put on clothes, like you'll put on that shawl and become mantra. Or you'll put on a cape and become Wonder Woman. And so on and so forth. Now suppose you put that cape on and you start to act like Wonder Woman, but you forget that you're not Wonder Woman. Okay, so you go around walking with your shield and sword. You go through security at the airport with that shield and sword. Problems. They're going to say, "Where did you learn this from?" It is going to become my problem then, right? If you forget that this is a play, you suffer. Right now, you think you're a particular form and name, and you've forgotten that your nature is Sat Chit, is existence awareness. So we suffer. We'll take this to a relative level. The gunas, time, food, temperature, people, are interacting with the gunas. Time is interacting with time, people are interacting with people. Changing the words, that which is limited is engaging with that which is limited. The limited is engaging with the limited, and when the limited engages with the limited, what is created? What's created? The limited. Do you want the limited? Or do you want that which is limitless? Do you want to live just for 5 years, or do you want to live forever? And I don't mean just in the body. You do want to exist forever, correct? Do you want to just be aware of Big Bear Lake, or do you want to be aware everywhere you go? And I think the best way to understand this is, do you ever wake up in the morning and feel too happy? I'm so happy today, it's going to be a bad day. I'm going to be, causing problems, I'm so happy. See, your nature is limitless. Limitless existence, limitless awareness, definitely limitless happiness. So if you understand that this body, your body, limited. Your university, my university, limited. Your workplace, my workplace, limited. The limited, in any combination and permutation with the limited, can only create the limited, but you know that you need that which is limitless. Don't you develop the right contact or the right relationship with that which is limited then? Do you still depend on your body to make you independently joyous then? Your body is just a vehicle. You don't give it more or less importance. School, work. We were talking about dating yesterday. Who is one person we never date?
Myself.
Ourselves or our Creator. Suppose on Tuesday morning you make a pact with yourself that every morning I'm going to speak to my Creator for 5 minutes. I'm going to listen to my Creator for 5 minutes. You have to leave the house at 7 a.m., let's say. So when do you do this? At 6:50 a.m. So as you sit down to listen to your Creator, what are you thinking about? Is it 7 o'clock yet? I should check my alarm clock. Oh, it's 6:51. Okay, you put your alarm clock away. 1 more minute. Is it 7 o'clock yet? No, it's 6:52. You put your alarm clock away. What if you hear your email ringer on your phone? It might be an emergency. It's just on eBay. You got an alert that your bid won. See how little importance we give to our own Creator. That's what I mean. Bhagavan is trying to teach us to treat the functional as functional, the fundamental as fundamental. When you understand this shloka at a relative level, you become more introvert. You become more inward looking. You don't depend on articles, beings, or circumstances as much because you know they can't complete you. At a tactile level, how to make this shloka more real. When are you most extrovert? Think, when are you most extrovert?
When you're happy?
When you're happy, I would say the exact opposite. We're most extrovert when we're least happy. And an example of that is Duryodhana. If you go to chapter 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, who's doing all the talking? Duryodhana. Because he's afraid. And remember I connected fear to being extrovert yesterday. When you're happy, you don't need to do anything. We are most extrovert at night. And so the tactile point I'm sharing with you is to create a sleep culture. Create a sleep culture. What do you think I mean by that? Okay, let me rewind. There's some people from Pittsburgh here. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are in the Stanley Cup Finals. So California, the Golden State Warriors will lose in the NBA Finals. You see how Golden State for basketball, Pittsburgh for hockey, they've created a whole culture of athletics. Whether it's the city's colors or a parade, or in Toronto, they have a place called Jurassic Park. They're called the Toronto Raptors. So right outside the stadium, there's this huge open area, and they call it Jurassic Park, literally. And thousands of people come there and just watch on a big screen. How smart of that sports company to create that sports culture, isn't it? In Cleveland, we have the Tyagaraja Festival. I'm sure many of you know about that. See the culture they've created there? People flying in, people performing, there being bigger names, smaller names. When I say create a sleep culture, what do you think I mean? Having a really awesome mattress. It means you should try to sleep at the same time every day. And I don't mean, okay, 10:01. Generally, sleep at the same time. Generally means within half an hour. You should stop looking at screens at least an hour before you know when you're going to sleep. So if you're going to sleep at 11, 10 o'clock, no more screens. You should have a routine of washing your face, wearing whatever clothes. You have a routine of not eating so close to when you're going to sleep. You should have a routine to what book you're going to read in your bed. See, what happens with all of this is you start to enjoy that culture. When a sports culture is created, they enjoy the sport more. When the dance culture is created, they enjoy the dance more. I've been to so many concerts in my life. I see those like music festivals, they create a whole culture that you buy a poster, you buy a shirt, you tailgate before the concert, etc., etc. You enjoy, you focus on the music more. If you sleep in a disciplined way, you will curtail being extrovert. You won't watch Netflix as much, you won't eat junk food as much, you won't worry about tomorrow's work. And if you're not extrovert, that means you're being more introvert. If you're being more introvert, that means you're seeing that this is just gunas. And behind these gunas is Atman, or the spirit. Everyone's with me? These are really profound and simple messages from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to go quickly through shloka 20 to keep pace. I'll introduce it, we'll cover it more later. In shloka 19, Bhagavan Krishna shares that one can be enlightened, one can know that they don't have to be subject to limitations. In shloka 20, Bhagavan Krishna teaches how. Swami Chinmaya was leaving immigration once, and as he was leaving, that immigration officer said, "Have a good time." So Swamiji looked back and said, "How?" And that person didn't know what to say. Isn't it? When we say like, "How are you?" And if someone says, "I'm not doing so well, can I share it?" No. That was just me mechanically sharing. So how? It's not just there's enlightenment and figure it out yourself. Bhagavan shares how. Gunan etan atityatrin. Gunan etan atityatrin. Dehi deha samudbhavan. Dehi deha samudbhavan. Janma mrityu jara dukkaihi. Janma mrityu jara dukkaihi. Vimukto mritam ashnute. Vimukto mritam ashnute. Together and loud. Gunan etan atityatrin. Dehi deha samudbhavan. Janma mrityu jara dukkaihi. Vimukto mritam ashnute. Etan gunan. These gunas, what are the gunas? In English, what does tamas mean? Laziness. Rajas? Aggression. Sattva? Calmness. We have to, atitya, we have to go past these three. So from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, sattva and beyond. See, Toy Story, they copied that from here to infinity and beyond, here. Chapter 14, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, loyalties. Royalty, sorry. What do these gunas cause? Dehi deha samudbhavan. It is these gunas that are the seed, that are the cause for this body. What are some experiences that this body will go through? From birth to death, fill in some of the experiences this body is going to go through. The body not so much, but pain. The body will go through pain. Keep going. Old age, decay. Injury, certainly. Growth, disease, maturation, illness, strength. So much it will go through. Here Bhagavan says the body will be janma and mrityu. Jara means janma, jara means to decay, and then mrityu means to die. And through all of this there is dukkha. There's pain. But for the person, connecting this to the previous verse, for the person who knows this is a game of gunas, Game of Thrones, copied here also, game of gunas. This is a game of gunas. Then whatever happens to the body is just a game also. But that person knows that they are more than the body, that they are existence, that they are awareness. That person, vimukta, not mukta. Mukta means free. Free means they're free of pain. Vimukta means they are free once and for all. Amrita mashnute, they experience joy. Sri Ramakrishna had throat cancer. And he never complained about his cancer. Sri Ramana, I can't recall what disease he had, but they had to cut his arm. He did that without any sort of anesthesia. He was watching as they were operating on his arm. Today I'll show you when we engage in our athletics. They once had to put a pick in my arm. They cut my arm and put a tube into my chest for antibiotics. So I had to walk around with this pouch. And as he was cutting my arm, he froze my arm I was watching this. I was freaking out. Like, this isn't just the surface. He was full out into my flesh. So, and I was thinking, Sri Ramana, who's watching? Yeah, cut that, move that around. With Swami Chinmaya did that. His heart was operating at 18%. Now we have some medical students in this room. Can't see her right now. Where is she? Where's Minu? Oh, she's right there. Sorry. Meenakshi. I'm told that anytime your heart operates at less than 82 or say 80%, you're in cardiac arrest. He was giving discourses while having a heart attack. He was flying through on planes while having a heart attack. He was making huge decisions while having a heart attack. Because he knew that this is a game of gunas. And he is not the gunas, he is that which holds those gunas. He is existence, he is awareness. I will explain the absolute and relative message to this shloka later. I'm just going to give you the tactile point, okay? And it'll be more clear when we go through this. No sound drive. No sound drive. When you're driving, when you're commuting, whether you're driving or not, I want you to begin your drive, your commute with no sound. No discourses, no bhajans, no NPR, no Spotify, definitely no Spotify from the people who I was driving with in the car yesterday. Nothing. And in that environment of no sound, you will come to see who you really are. I'll explain that more, but that's the tactile point. No sound drive. Now, I need to put a disclaimer here. If you're driving and you're feeling really sleepy, have a sound drive, okay? Listen to stuff, speak to someone, do stuff to make sure you're not sleepy. I drive a whole lot. My system starts with no sound. The same thing I'm telling you, I practice also. When I become more sleepy, I listen to discourses. More sleepy, I listen to bhajans. More sleepy, I listen to my iPod. More sleepy, I listen to news. More sleepy, I listen to the radio. So based on that, based on that sleepiness, I try to put that fuel in the mind. But the idea is that it should ideally be no sound. There's already so much sound inside. We should just make it quieter outside so that it becomes quieter inside. When we do that, we'll realize that this is just equipments. You are more than your equipment. You're the driver. All that we're studying right now is a subjective science. This subject is about you. Chemistry is not about you, nor is physiology, nor is medicine or accounting or technology. This is the only subject that teaches you about you. The word to describe this is Vedanta. What does antaha mean?
Inside.
Inside. And Veda means knowledge of what's inside. How do you study a subjective science? Like this. This is step one. What is step two of studying a subjective science? To make this your life. That your whole lifestyle has to revolve around this knowledge and practicing this. Only then will we be vimukta, be free.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.